There you have it, the BJP National President JP Nadda announcing that the NDA's vice presidential candidate will be the Bengal Governor Jagdeep Dhankar. Kisan Putra is how JP Nadda described Mr. Dhankar. Mr. Dhankar, of course, has been the Governor of Bengal since 2019. He's a Supreme Court lawyer. He's from Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan, where he's been a member of parliament. He was also a member of the Legislative Assembly of Rajasthan as well. And this is an interesting pick, because not only is he a Kisan Putra, he also comes from the influential Jat community. Let me go across to our colleagues. Maria Shakil, our political editor, is joining us. Arundhati is live for us from the BJP headquarters. So the big question is, why Jagdeep Dhankar?
Well, Zaka, I think a lot of calculations have gone into it, but also a realization that will it be a difficult choice for Mamata Banerjee to oppose? Because he is, after all, the governor of Jharkhand. We have seen that breaking of ranks that happened when the BJP in 2017 had chosen Ramnath Kovind. Nitish Kumar found it difficult to oppose his candidature because he was the governor of Jharkhand. And look what has happened in case of Draupadi Murmu as well. JMM backed her. Of course, she is the tribal. She's going to be the first tribal president, but also she was the governor of Jharkhand. So it remains to be seen whether Mamata Banerjee will be backing him. But yes, the BJP wants to send this message, Zaka, that this is the spirit of New India, that this is about those who have risen in the ranks, those who understand the life of difficulties, the life of economic limit, the life where you have limited economic options, economic hurdles, and that is what they are trying to highlight in case of Jagdeep Dhankar as well. Well, it was being guessed as to what is the real symbolism behind it. The BJP could have chosen any person which is high on symbolism, and does he really have an experience to manage the upper house of parliament, because he will be the chairman of the upper house as well, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. All those questions will be asked, but certainly a very, very interesting pick, keeping in mind also the Rajasthan elections. All
right, that is true. Rajasthan goes to polls late next year. But let me also go across to Arundhati. So this is the brief bio we have of Jagdeep Dhankar. He's from Rajasthan. He's had a successful legal career before he became a full-time politician. He was the youngest president of the Rajasthan Bar Association. He's been both MP from Jhunjhunu and an MLA before that. He's also had ministerial experience. In 1990, he was part of the Union Cabinet, and since 2019, he's been the governor of Bengal. Arundhati is also joining us live. Arun, what is the story behind Jagdeep Dhankar's selection? Because no one quite anticipated this. He's had high-profile sort of run-ins, if you will, with the Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. But I think Maria raised a valid point. Will Mamata be able to not bank Dhankar, because they've had a relationship over the last many years now?
Well, Zaka, it's a surprising decision from the Bharatiya Janata Party, because even in the evening, few hours ago, we had seen a photo being tweeted by Prime Minister's office with Jagdeep Dhankar. At that point in time, people were speculating perhaps he might be in the contention. But then suddenly, the other photos popped up, Prime Minister meeting with other governors of the other states. So, but now when JP Nadda announced the name of the governor of West Bengal, Jagdeep Dhankar, that he's going to be the NDA's nominee for the vice presidential election, it's very surprising. Of course, he comes with the experience, administrative experience. He's been governor there in West Bengal since 2019, and his tenure there in West Bengal is known to everyone. The kind of relationship which we had seen between the Chief Minister and the Governor, always on the boil. He was not holding his punches back whenever it required. And the way JP Nadda started talking about him, Kisan Putra, is something which BJP wants to send out a message that, the second highest constitutional post of the country will go to a Kisan Putra. He's someone who has come from a rural background, someone, who had faced huge difficulties in the initial career of of his life, to reach up to the High Court of Rajasthan, where he practiced law, then reaching to the Supreme Court, and also contested the election. Though he only managed to stay there for 2 years in Lok Sabha, he also was the MOS in the Parliamentary Affairs in 1991. So he has that experience, but also importantly the role which he will have to play in Rajya Sabha. That is something which is very, very crucial, because we know the strength of the opposition is much more in Rajya Sabha, and therefore the responsibility will be bigger, that how he is going to manage things in Rajya
Okay,
Sabha.
Arun, give me a
because
moment. We're also joined on the phone line by BJP National Spokesperson and IT Cell Chief Amit Malviya. Amit, explain to our viewers the choice of Jagdeep Dhankar. What is the calculation and why him?
Well, Zaka, if you see Mr. Dhankar's role in West Bengal, a state that has seen near collapse of law and order and the gruesome post-poll violence, he stuck steadfastly to the constitutionally laid down principles, irrespective of what Mamata Banerjee and the TMC government may have said about Jagdeep Dhankar and accused him of stepping over the line. He was someone who never breached the constitutional limits. He did not ever step out of his realm as governor. And I think that is incredible quality for someone to occupy the vice president's office. That experience, that legal understanding, that acumen that he brings is quite unparalleled. Having said that, he naturally represents the aspiration of the farming community. He is a Jat by caste. He comes from Rajasthan. He's somebody who is a self-made man, ticks a lot of boxes, is somebody who's widely seen as a man who will add to the heft of the vice president's office.
In picking Mr. Dhankar, Amit, you've also thrown a googly at Mamata Banerjee. Will she be able to oppose his candidature?
Well, it is for Mamata Banerjee to decide if she wants to support or oppose Mr. Dhankar, because she's not had the best of relationship with him. But just like the presidential candidate, we will ensure that our vice president nominee sails through.
Also, very quickly, when your party president, Mr. Nadda, addressed the press, the first word that he used to describe Mr. Dhankar was Kisan Putra. How important is this nomination to bridge the gap, or at least perceived gap, between your government and farmers?
Well, the fact is that Mr. Dhankar, coming from the community that he does, the fact that he has an agrarian background, comes from the dominant Jat community, which is involved in farming and agriculture in a big way, it certainly helps to have him there. Let's not forget that politics and those who occupy constitutional position also embody the aspiration of people they represent. And in that sense, Mr. Dhankar brings along a great deal of virtues with him.
All right. And very quickly, he'll also have to now be the presiding officer in the Rajya Sabha. I'm assuming, of course, because of his legal background, that is something that would come naturally to him.
That's obvious, because the vice president is, by definition, the chair of the House. And like I said, his legal acumen, his steadfastness to constitutionally laid down principles and procedures, as we've seen in West Bengal, despite grave provocations from Mamata Banerjee and the TMC, I think that is going to be a great advantage that he brings.
All right, Amit Malviya, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us with the first BJP reaction to the choice of Jagdeep Dhankar as the NDA's vice presidential nominee. Let me go